How do you look at your kids knowing that you are the one responsible for the death of their mother or their father? All right, guys. So I just came back from the second day conference, and I'm in a hotel room, and I actually want to talk about a movie I watched yesterday. You should watch it if you have Netflix subscriptions. It's called The Widow's Game. It is called The Widow's Game. I watched that movie yesterday, and while watching that movie, a lot of things actually were going through my head. Okay, and those are the things I want to share with you guys. All right, so some people may not like this video, especially the female folks, but I'm sure the reasonable ones will understand. And so now I know that in marriage or relationship, especially a typical marriage where one of the party believes in till death do us part. Okay, either one of them or both of them believe in till death do us part, and it's typically mostly from families that still have these family values and this religious, mostly those who very good deep religious background, and those who still believe in typical family values. All right. So I've always been of the opinion that the reason why some people die in marriage, apart from the what do you call it, the domestic violence that happens where it's obvious that the man is abusing the woman, or the woman is abusing the man, that one is obvious, okay? And of course, investigation can easily be done, and then it can only easily be traced because they were evidence, probably because neighbors have heard it and there have been marks, or there have been fights where police have been involved in most cases. That one is easy to detect, okay? And yeah, so but there's also a kind of way that this thing where these couples are married, okay, and all of a sudden in a home where there has been relatively peace, no domestic violence, no man and woman fighting, but all of a sudden one of them dies after a brief illness, or one of them die through an accident, or probably a robbery gone wrong, one of them is killed. Okay, now in those cases, in some countries, those cases are not really deeply investigated. Okay, it is just taken at the face value. Yeah, he died by accident. They don't look if the car was tampered with. He died after a brief illness. They don't look at what was the cause of the illness. Could it be poisoning? Could it be something else? Was the robbery gone wrong? Okay, they look at robbery, and in most cases, it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, could it be an arranged assassination? They don't look at that. All right. So I believe in marriage. I'm married, of course. But watching that movie yesterday, I understood that some people. I'm going to tell you what really played out in the movie and why I'm thinking like this. I believe that there are people who probably because they have fallen out of love with their partner, or they have found somebody else. Why some will wish their partner dead without having the guts, okay, to actually kill their partner or facilitate the death of their partner. There are other ones who will do that just to have that liberty, okay, that freedom, because of course the person is dead, and the marriage says dead do us part. Okay, so the person is dead, now they can part, right? I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, now before I talk about this movie, I want to talk about a video I watched on Facebook a couple of months back. There was this old woman, a Caucasian woman, who was interviewed. Okay, now she was asked rather, what is that thing that happened to you that seems unbelievable? Okay, now she could have talked about anything else. She could have talked about anything else. Okay, I believe that in all through her life, because start looking at her, she was somebody who should be in her 60s or 70s. There could have been a lot of other things that happened, but do you guess what she said? She said it was when. Listen to the question again. She was asked, "What is that thing, that good thing that happened to you that appeared almost unbelievable?" Okay, she said that it was when her husband died on a plane crashed. Okay, and the man said, and the interviewer was like, okay, what do you mean by that? He said there was this guy he was in love with while married to the husband. But because the husband was still alive and she was still married, she could not go be with the man. Okay, and then one day the husband was traveling and then he died on a plane crash. So at that point, she couldn't believe it. She was excited because that means finally, according to her, this is her word, finally she could go back and be with the person she has loved from a distance for a long time. Now, from the way the interview went, it appears that the woman eventually ended up with that person. Personally, I don't believe that she just sort of a sudden went and started dating that person or married the person after the man died. What that tells me is that there have been other activity going on behind the scene. Okay, she could not do some of those things publicly because she was married. All right, now back to the movie. There was this lady. Okay, she was married to a loving man. Okay, the man was not abusive. The lady is a nurse. She was married to a loving man. According to how the movie went. Okay, and then she had this colleague in the office. Okay, who was an advanced man in his I think in his late 40s or early 50s. Okay, this lady is a young girl. She was, I think, about 27 years old or so in the movie. All right. Now, this colleague of hers in the office, who is a doctor and she's a nurse, is married. Okay, he's married with a kid. Yeah, with a kid. So he's married with a kid. Now, this lady also had someone else, a younger guy somewhere who she was truly and really in love with. Now, she was dating this married man in the office. All right. She was dating this married man in the office. So I'm trying to make you understand how vulnerable even men can be and how easy they can be used even against their fellow man. Okay, when they think, when they are convinced that it is for their own good, okay, and it is so that their own interests can be protected. Because what the lady told the man was that now the lady had been having affair and making love, having sex with this old man, and also having affair with the other younger guy who she was head over heel in love with. All right, and remember the lady is married, okay, married to a guy, but they had no kids, and she's from a family that don't allow divorce. She's from this religious family who also believe in this old family values. All right, I don't know. I'm using old because I can't think of the right word right now. It's like family values that have been practiced over the years. Okay, fundamental family values or whatever. So what that means is that the family will not accept divorce. Her family will not accept divorce. All right, and because the family apart from being religious, I think they have a position in church. Now this is a typical thing that you can a lot of us can easily relate with. Okay, in our various places. So in order for she never wanted to get the other young guy involved in whatever thing she was planning because she did not tell that guy that she was married. So the guy met her. As a matter of fact, one of the days the guy told her that what is the catch? This is almost unbelievable. A beautiful lady like you at this age, you're not married. She said, yeah, maybe that's about to change. And that was after they had their first intimate moment. And the guy said, I don't even know your name. And that was she told the guy her name. And then she was having this sexual fantasy. She was having this guy fulfilling her sexual fantasies and all of that. While in the office, she's deliberately doing double shifts, doing double jobs just to stay away from the husband. All right. And it is in one of those jobs that she met. So in the other hospital where she's working, she met this old man, and at the other job, she met this other guy. Okay. And then the guy was like, at the point, the guy was like, why is your husband making you work double shifts and stuff like that? He should be at home, he should be taking care of you and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I think one job should have been okay and stuff like that. And the guy had been telling the lady to at least pick up one job so that they can spend more time together, and stuff, which she refused. All right. So she didn't want the younger guy to know that she was married. So the old man who was married, because the older man was married, she also the man also knew that she was married. Okay, so it was like, yeah, we are both married and we're having this affair. Okay, so by the way, the old man calls her Buttercup. All right, so she now one day started telling the guy the older man how abusive and how terrible the husband is. Now, she was doing this because she has fallen out of love with the husband. And remember, divorce is not an option. It's not that she has discussed divorce with the man and the man said no, but because of her family values or her family background or how the family will see divorce, you understand, she didn't want to even bring up the issue of divorce at all, which is something she would have honorably done and move on with her life and go be with any man she wanted to be with. All right. So she started telling the older man how abusive the husband has been and how the husband is beating her up, threatening to kill her and do a lot of things to her. You understand what I mean? But all of this were all wrong, were all lies. But she was doing this and telling the guy that the older man that, look, if my husband is out of the way, nothing's going to stop us. We can live our life, can have our fun, And now, because of this guy that she's making them feel like, see, what they are doing is wrong, which of course was wrong because they were both married and yet having an affair. Okay, but she was making it look as if this is something that we should be enjoying legitimately. Okay, that because of this guy around and doing whatever he's doing to me, it's like whatever we are doing is wrong. If this guy's out of the picture, we can go on and enjoy our life and do whatever we want to do. Okay, and then the guy was like, okay, fine. So the man was not actually following the conversation in the way the lady wanted him to, because the lady made him understand that he's the only one that understands her. At the point she now started suggesting to the man to help her kill the husband. And remember, it's not that this lady is actually very much in love with the older man, but he wants the husband out of the way. He wanted to use the old man to kill the husband so that she can actually spend her life with the younger guy who does not even know she's married. You understand? So this is her now using a fellow man who, to kill her husband. So she can go. So she was practically using this older man. All right. So the man was reluctant to do it. She kept pressurizing the man, as all of those things, making the man feel like he is very special and he is all she wanted and stuff like that. And the man doesn't even know there's another man in the picture somewhere. All right. So along the line, she managed to convince this man to kill the husband. She gave the man access to their garage and told the man how she was going to convince the husband, who, by the way, she has painted evil, and then said, made the man to feel like he is trying to kill her. Okay, somebody whom you claim you're not in terms with, but you've told the man that you're going to convince him to park in the garage so that whatever is happening in the garage, because there's no camera in the garage, nobody will see. All right. Eventually, this video is getting too long. Eventually, the man accepted and went ahead to kill the lady's husband. Okay, to kill the lady's husband. And immediately after he killed the husband, at some point, the lady suggested to the older man who killed the husband that they need to stay some time apart, so that blah, 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 blah. They need no phone calls and stuff. Now, why? Because she had told the man that she was going to be traveling for a conference somewhere as well. And mind you, that was actually because she was planning a vacation with the other guy who never knew she was married, because now the husband is out of the picture. You understand? Now, let me not talk more about the movie anymore. I think that by now you understand the picture what I'm talking about. You see, why our Christian or religious values, okay, demonizes or make divorce a bad idea. Okay, yes, of course, even the Bible, even God said he hate putting away. Okay, he hate divorce. All right. Now, but I think instead of instigating or planning to kill your partner because you are no longer into that marriage, you're no longer into the man, you're no longer into the woman, why not honorably go on for what makes you think it is better to be a murderer than a divorcee? What makes you think so? It's crazy. And in most cases, like in this case I just talked about, it is another man that is used for this game. So whenever a woman is out of love with the husband is in danger. And using that thing in between her legs, she can easily manipulate a lot of men who would voluntarily take the life of another man. And in some cases, that man is just being used. It is not because the woman really want to be with him. But the woman want to be quote and unquote free. He just want to be free. And in this case, he does, since the guy he really loved, he does not want to get him involved in all of this. First of all, she lied to the man that she was not married, and the man that knew she was married is the one she used to do the dirty game. And this man is an old man who may not even have the strength to do all those sexual fantasies. Most of the scene we saw there, I don't want to talk about those ones. Okay? But that makes me begin to think of how much in danger many men are. And how a lot of people have died and have been swept under after a brief illness, which no one seemed to. I don't know why autopsy is not very rampant in some part of the world, especially in Nigeria, where I come from. A lot of things would have been unraveled. When somebody suddenly died of a car accident, no one takes the time to look at this car. Was this car tampered with? Was this car tampered with? How did the accident happen? Sometimes you even hear somebody was crossing the road and it was a hit and run. How? And that is what is taken by the hit and run driver. Sometimes you hear of somebody was just killed in a robbery gone wrong. And we just take it at that face value. I am here thinking that a lot of these deaths are instigated by the other half. It could be the man, it could be the woman. You know, this movie really opened my eyes to a lot of things. I'm telling you. Immediately, as I was watching that movie, I was saying to myself, I am going to talk about it. I am going to talk about it. Because there are a lot of lessons to pick from there. And I want to beg every man or woman out there. Now, I don't want to appear biased or make people think I'm talking about demonizing the women or something. No, this could be from any on any side. Please, when you're tired of that relationship, it is better to be a divorcee than to be a murderer. How will you walk around knowing that the person you once shared a bed with, that the blood of that person is in your hands or your head? How do you sleep knowing that a parent to your children could be the father to your children or the mother to your children was unalived by you? Would it not have been better that you guys separate? The society has painted, demonized divorce. Yeah, I know even in the Bible there was divorce. Then when Jesus Christ came, he said the beginning was not so I understand that. But there's also a commandment that says, thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill. So why will you choose to kill? Not divorce. No, there's no commandment that forbids you from divorcing. But there's a commandment that forbids you from killing. So why do you choose to kill than to walk away? If you can hate your partner to the point where you wish them dead, then the best thing is to walk away. And some of these things that happen, these people already have kids together. How do you look at your kids knowing that you are the one responsible for the death of their mother or their father? And you look at them, you hug them and say, I love you, knowing in your mind that you denied them the love and the presence of the other parent. This is really crazy. It is really crazy. I will always advocate for a divorce if it gets to the point where you are thinking of unaliving the other person. It is crazy. If you haven't watched that movie, go and watch it. Then you will get a clear picture of what I'm talking about. This video is getting too long, so I will be stopping here. This is my unfiltered view. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again in the next video. Until then, Bye-bye.